Who is Marvel's strongest super soldier? There's a scene in the new Thunderbolts movie that has everyone asking this question.
Don't worry, I got this.
What other super soldier have we seen do this? Is John Walker the most powerful super soldier? Or rather, who is the strongest super soldier? Well, I decided to do a deep research. I compared their abilities, their strength, their leadership, and even their mental stability. But the deeper I dug, the clearer something became. Being the strongest isn't just a matter of physical strength, it's much more complex than that. And after analyzing everything, I came to a conclusion that you might not expect. But first, we need to understand what the Super Soldier Serum really is. The Super Soldier Serum is a chemical formula created by Dr. Abraham Erskine during World War II to maximize the abilities of soldiers. But how does it work? This serum is administered in several small intramuscular injections, and then the subject is exposed to beta rays. This causes a reaction in the cells that unlocks their full physical potential. But it doesn't end there. Due to enormous success of this serum, over time several scientists tried to replicate it, but none managed to achieve the perfection of the original. Arnim Zola created a version of this serum that he injected into several prisoners, and the USSR also created its own version, which was injected into Alexei Shostakov. Then, in the modern era, Wilfred Nagel created a version of the serum that was incomplete. He managed to increase strength and all the abilities of the original, but it had many side effects, making the serum a more flawed version. Eventually, Zemo took it upon himself to destroy all the serums that existed at that time. So, to recap, Steve Rogers received the original serum created by Dr. Erskine. Bucky Barnes was injected with a modified version developed by Hydra, known as the Zola formula, and John Walker obtained an imperfect version recreated by Dr. Nagel. But now, does the type of serum influence the abilities and strength that a super soldier can achieve? Honestly, I don't think so. Being a super soldier goes beyond the contents of a bottle, and I'll explain why. To do this, I divided the 4 qualities that make a super soldier great into 4 categories: ethics and leadership, physical strength, mental stability, and combat skills. So let's start with Steve. When it comes to ethics and leadership, Steve Rogers stands out the most among the 3, and I think we can all agree on that. Steve is always on the side of justice and freedom, no matter what happens to him as a person. Thanks to this personality and natural leadership, he has achieved many victories in different battles, from those he fought in World War II to the battles in which he led the Avengers. This proves that he's one of the best strategists in the MCU, as well as being an example to others. Hawkeye even has a line in his series where he says that it is impossible to be bad in front of Cap, that everyone brings out their best when they're around him. He also has an incredible ability to unite his team, trust each of them, and makes difficult decisions for the greater good. But he's not just a great leader, he also has great mental control. Steve always puts his values first, has self-control in extreme situations, and always tries to follow the right path and guide others towards the good. Like in Avengers Endgame, when he was the leader of a group of anonymous people who were sharing their traumas after Thanos snapped. At no point in any of the films do you see him seeking revenge or compromising his values. The only time we all went crazy was when he said this to Thanos:
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
That was a big whoa, okay. This is serious. So compared to other super soldiers, the serum did not corrupt his character because, as Dr. Erskine said, the serum amplifies what is already inside. Also furthermore, although it's a little controversial, he was sure that in Civil War he was doing the right thing by not accepting the Sokovia Accords. This shows how strong and well established his principles are. That's why Steve always has everything clear in each of his decisions. But in addition to his mental abilities, Steve is also excellent in combat. Steve Rogers has many combat skills that set him apart. He was trained in martial arts, boxing, judo, taekwondo, wushu, you name it. He knows it. Thanks to all these skills and his incredible discipline, he can fight enemies even when he's on the verge of defeat. My guy here was ready to fight an army all by himself. He's just that guy. He also knows how to adapt his fighting style to work with his teammates, such as when he combines attacks with Iron Man or Thor. Steve also has incredible shield handling skills. His accuracy is impressive and it's practically a boomerang in his hand. All these combat skills are what make him an exceptional soldier. But of course, we have to talk about his physical strength. Steve Rogers is way too strong. He single-handedly destroyed a Quinjet without any effort. Do you know how much strength it takes to pierce those surfaces with just a shield? It's just crazy. And also, I think we all remember that legendary scene where he literally stops a helicopter with one hand. I actually did some more research on this, and It's insane. Stopping the helicopter involves much more than a simple pull. To understand the magnitude of what Steve did, you have to consider that the helicopter in question has a lifting capacity of 3,000 pounds. That means that in addition to his own weight, Steve Rogers is resisting all that force with his arms, preventing the helicopter from lifting off while keeping his body anchored to the building. It's a clear demonstration of the superhuman strength granted to him by the Super Soldier Serum. He also always proves himself superior in hand-to-hand combat, such as when he withstood a punch from Bucky despite having a metal arm and the Super Soldier Serum. But what about Bucky? How strong is he? Well, compared to Steve, Bucky doesn't have a strong leadership character. What stands out about him is his ethics. This can be seen in the fact that after waking up in Wakanda, the first thing he did was face the consequences of his actions. Bucky is also quite loyal, both to Steve and Sam. He never likes to take center stage and always gives it to others. His leadership is more moral in general because he protects others and gives advice based on his own experience. One complication Bucky has is that he had no control over his evil actions in the past, but despite all of this, he's always looking to redeem himself and always tries to do his best to counteract those bad deeds. But despite all this, a big negative point for Bucky is his mental stability. Bucky is a character who went through quite intense trauma when he was trapped in the Soviet Union. There, he was brainwashed, and in this way, Hydra managed to completely control him and turn him into the Winter Soldier, a personality in which he was a serial killer for decades, hurting many people, all without having control over his actions. However, despite being rescued and free from his personality, he continues to face severe trauma, has violent memories, and continues to struggle with the psychological aftermath of those years. That is why in Thunderbolts, he's shown as the strongest character. He learned to master his trauma, and it does not haunt him as much as it did before. But one thing that cannot be denied is his incredible combat skills. Bucky Barnes has quite extensive military training. He was originally a sniper in World War II, so he's quite good with firearms and also skilled in hand-to-hand combat. These skills can be seen in all the movies, such as in that incredible fight he has with Steve. His style is also quite precise and silent, as well as being quite efficient in each of his missions. And now, how strong is Bucky Barnes? Well, Bucky undeniably has a lot of physical strength. In all the movies, we've seen him do incredible things, like resisting Steve's shield throw with one hand or throwing cars into the air with one arm. In addition, in hand-to-hand combat with other powerful characters, he always managed to show incredible endurance and stand up to each one of them. But definitely, someone who is not far behind, and definitely one of the most underrated in my opinion, is John Walker. John Walker doesn't exactly stand out in ethics and leadership. John Walker spent a long time trying to fulfill the honor of being Captain America, but he ended up failing completely. You can't deny his virtues, his courage, his discipline, and all of this earned him medals in his time. But something that hurts him a lot is his impulsive behavior. His decisions and attitudes are almost always focused more on revenge than justice. After losing his military rank, he only redeems himself in part by helping to stop Carly Morgenthau, but it's clear that brute force alone did not make him worthy of leadership. Walker needed to learn that a true leader combines strength with integrity, and by not understanding this, he ruined every opportunity he had to be Captain America. In addition, something that greatly harms John Walker is his mental control and stability. John Walker is quite unstable and impulsive. After injecting himself with the Super Soldier Serum, a part of his dark side was also maximized. For example, in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when he decides to kill the person who killed his best friend. That impulsive act cost him the title of Captain America. Walker benefits physically from the serum, but is mentally vulnerable. His unbalanced aggression and anger easily dominate him. But one thing we can't deny about John Walker is his combat skills. John Walker is an elite soldier, a former US Special Forces Ranger. He has extensive military training, from hand-to-hand combat techniques to weaponry. He combines modern military combat moves such as close-range combination strikes and locks with improvisation, using any available object as a weapon. Another impressive thing about John Walker is his incredible mastery of Cap's shield. His fighting style is also much more aggressive than of any other super soldier. To a certain extent, he doesn't hold back and hits with everything he got. In addition, he already had a 2-on-1 fight against Bucky and Falcon in which they barely escaped with their lives. And he also managed to do pretty well in the Thunderbolts movie. Without a doubt, his combat skills are undeniable, as is his strength. John Walker is quite strong. We've seen him do incredible things like bend metal, throw the shield with precision and power, and rip Sam Wilson's wings off with his bare hands. In this same fight, He also took several hits from Sam and Bucky and was close to defeating them. Overall, his achievements in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which included defeating several enhanced Flag Smasher and killing the villain Nico, are evidence of extreme physical power. In addition to that jump in Thunderbolts that I can't get out of my head, which was just crazy. Now that I've analyzed each of these super soldiers, who is the best super soldier? Who is the most complete? I mean, you can come to your own conclusion about who is the best super soldier with everything I've given you. But if you want my opinion, in terms of pure strength, I mean literally just strength, I think the order from lowest to highest is Bucky, John, and Steve. Steve is undoubtedly the most complete of the three for me. Steve Rogers not only represents the highest standard of leadership within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but he's also a living proof that power does not have to corrupt. His unwavering ethics, his ability to unite and guide others, his emotional control in the most difficult moments, and his physical and mental strength make him one of the most complete and admirable characters. From the battlefield to an intimate conversation, Steve always acts out of justice, duty, and the common good. He's not just a super soldier, he's a symbol of what it truly means to be a hero. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to what Stan Lee said.
So one question I'm always asked, who would win in a fight? Who would win in a fight if Galactus fought the Hulk, or if Thor fought Iron Man? And there's one answer to all of that. It's so simple. The person who'd win in a fight is the person that the scriptwriter wants to win. It depends on who I want to win if I'm writing the script. These are fictitious characters, so stop asking those bonehead questions.
We're almost at 500 subscribers, so I would really appreciate it if you sub. Thank you for watching.